Graf clearly has now dominated women's tennis in the 3 years that she was out, but it was she, Monica Seles, who dominated before she was stabbed. Seles to serve, best of 3 sets, first ball. She was stabbed in early 93, the spring of 93. She was the #1 player in 91, #1 player in 92, and clearly dominated.
She had won 7 of the 8 Grand Slams she played. The only one she didn't win was Wimbledon. Got to the finals. Lost that final to Steffi Graf on the grass court. The only Grand Slam Monica Seles has not won. She's got 9 Grand Slam titles. Her 9th coming at the beginning of this year at the Australian Open.
Betsy, remember 91 also, she won all 3 Grand Slams. She skipped Wimbledon.
Right.
I mean, she's an enigma in a way. She's very strange. You know her so well. Why, for example, did she skip Wimbledon that year? What makes her so interesting a person?
She's a very charismatic character, and I think when she first came on the scene, she impressed so many people with her style of play. It was very unusual. 2 hands off both sides. And hit the ball harder and closer to the lines than anyone had ever seen. Steffi Graf, of course, introduced power tennis with the huge forehand and the big serve. And Seles came along and taught people she could hurt people off both sides. A couple of early errors in this game from Date. I do think, Cliff, though, that to answer your question, when Seles first came to the United States from her country with her family, they did so much on their own. They were very isolated, and they kept to themselves a very close family. And I think it was hard in the early years for not only Monica, but maybe the family to reach out to others, and they were so successful on their own. And I think as the years have gone by, that has changed, and Seles is much more mature. Everything Seles did made headline news, and I don't think it was anything she really wanted.
There's a mysteriousness about her as you watch her hitting another winner, and she has game point, first game. Andre Agassi sort of set out to make himself what he is, a media figure. I don't think Seles did, but she became one anyway. That is wide. First game to the USA, 1 game to love. Players will change ends. This could be the deciding match of this weekend. So stay with us, everybody. The format for this weekend comprises 5 matches, 2 played yesterday. The nation's #1s play against the #2s from the opposing nation, and then today the #1s play against each other, then the #2s play against each other, and then finally the doubles is played. All 5 will be played, but the last 2 may not mean anything if Monica Seles can beat this young lady, Kamiko Date, today. Date to serve, down 1 game to love.
Not a big serve from Kamiko Date, but that one jammed Seles.
I have always felt, Betsy, that they play a very similar style game, these two. They hit the ball very early. They hit it very flat as you watch this replay. Of course, Seles has 2 hands on both sides, and Date has the one-hander on the forehand. Outside of that, they're almost carbon copies of each other. They both attack the second serve like that.
Well, that's what Seles does so very, very well. And, of course, that's what Kamiko Date says is her strongest part of her game is the return of serve. I think Sellis has more raw power, can generate more pace off of any shot.
And has a better serve. Very interesting style. I mean, as you said yesterday, watching her, she has a very short swing. Just drops the racket, not much backswing, but very good control.
One of the few times, actually, that Date didn't take the ball on the rise. She managed to hit a winner, despite the fact she let it drop.
Do you think that Monica Seles is nervous?
I do think she is. I think she was very nervous before she played Sugiyama last night, you know, representing her country for the first time.
It's different, isn't it?
I think the emotions are completely different when you have the flag flying over.
Exactly.
I do know that Monica has very much enjoyed being a part of the team atmosphere, the team feeling, and that too is something unusual to tennis.
You will see Toshiro Sakai from time to time. He's the captain of the Japanese team. Deuce on the bench. Ai Sugiyama, who played singles yesterday and will again today, Savamatsu and Kyoko Nagatsuka.
That's the kind of shot that Date's so good at. She can create almost as a good an angle as Seles can. Another break opportunity here for Seles.
Seles gets the break, and it's 2-0. Billie Jean King applauds that effort from her #1 player, Billie Jean King, the captain of the U.S. Fed Cup team. Are you surprised at the Japanese support for their players, Betsy? Because they traditionally, in tournament play, for example, are very subdued, but not here.
No, I just think what's happened to tennis in Japan is quite remarkable. I mean, they've got 6 players in the top 65, another couple in the top 100. And the entire country has rallied around the Japanese, especially the women players, and are very proud of the fact that tennis has become such a predominant sport in that country. Well, another error from Kimiko Date, and a look at her on-force error, 7. Not 1 for Seles, and they're equal in the winner department. And Kimiko Date is a player who prides herself on not making errors. These two have only played 2 times, and they have not met each other since 1992 at the Australian Open. Well played from Date there. Date loves to step inside the baseline, and she can weather power very well because she's got such quick feet, and is very alert too to move forward when she sees a ball short.
They have played against each other a couple of times. Monica Seles has never lost.
The first time they played against each other was back in 1991, and that is the first time that Kimiko Date made a real impact on the women's tour. She came into a tournament in Los Angeles ranked 112, and she got her first ever win over a top 10 player. She beat Sabatini, who was 3 at the time, and lost to Celis in the final.
The return of serve. Sakai appreciates that. I mean, we talked about it earlier. This is what she thinks is her best shot.
Well, Celis has a pretty big serve, but Date steps about 3 feet. She starts there, and then she does a split step, and by the time she meets the ball, she's inside the baseline.
That is wide.
Date's ranking after she beat Sabatini, got to the final, losing to Celis in 91, went to 32. And in the next 3.5 years, she consistently stayed between 18 and 30. Her big breakthrough came at the Australian Open in 94. And she was the first Japanese player to reach a Grand Slam semifinal. She cracked the top 10 for the first time.
Compared to players like Monica Seles or Steffi Graf, Sanchez Vicario, she matured rather late. Date. She's 25 now. Deuce. She looks a little stale to me, Betsy.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've been traveling, of course, ourselves a lot. We were both at Wimbledon, so was she. She was playing in the semifinals of Wimbledon just over a week ago. And that tires you out.
She had a very successful Wimbledon, and as we've mentioned, she lost to Steffi Graf, and had that match continued on the Thursday when they started, it was called because of darkness at a set apiece at a couple of minutes before 9 p.m. We believe Date would have gone on to win that third set.
Because she'd won 6 straight games at that point.
She was down a set 2-love and won 6 consecutive games, and the momentum had completely changed.
She was beaten by Lindsay Davenport on day 1 here in Nagoya. Again, the scramble from Celis, and she takes her time. No trouble putting that one away.
Cliff Date had gotten off to an early break against Davenport yesterday.
And then faded.
Yeah, she was up 2-love and lost the next 6 games. Davenport played so well. This is a second break point opportunity for Date. She needs it. She is down a break. Just missed there. Date has a tendency to hit her ground strokes cross court because of the way she swings. Very short, very compact, takes the ball early, and because it demands such good timing, it's easier to go cross court, the lowest part of the net. You can see the tape that she has used consistently on that left knee of hers. She strained it in that Fed Cup match against Steffi Graf. Celis going for it, something that she got angry at herself for not doing, both at the French Open and at Wimbledon. Date's had 3 chances to break, hasn't converted.
And again doesn't convert, so it's deuce. Kamiko Date's dad is a train conductor. So there's no real history, sporting history in her family, and but he did recognize that she had talent and encouraged her.
Frustration for Date. She has had so many chances to break back in this game and hasn't been able to do it. Sellis put in a good, heavy first serve there to get her out of trouble again. So another game point. Sellis has had a previous game point to take a 3-love lead, convert the break.
USA lead by 3-0, and Kimiko Date is in trouble. Monica Seles off to a quick start. 3-love. First set. In April, Japan hosted Germany in the first round of the Fed Cup. With the nations even at 1 match apiece, the 2 number ones faced each other. Kimiko Date took the first set in the tiebreak after being down love 5 and saving 3-set points. But Sepigrov evened things with a commanding second set. The decisive set became a marathon, but finally, Date prevailed with a thrilling 12-10 third set score. Her only career victory against the world's number 1 player. Not as successful today. Monica Seles leading 3-0 against Kimiko Date. The U.S. leading this match, this tie weekend, by 2-0. This is Date serving. Down 3-love.
And a very uncharacteristic Date out here right now. She has made an awful lot of unforced errors.
Again, Betsy, she looks drained to me.
She looks uptight and tense as well.
Three break points for an insurance second break here in the first set. So Shiro Sakai, there's not much he can do about this.
Quite get good position on that one.
So now it is 4-0 for the USA. The best riders in the world take to the streets of France. The Tour de France presented by Michelin on ESPN2 tomorrow. Stage 15, 110 miles at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So join us for that, please, here on ESPN2.
Sugiyama.
Lost to Seles yesterday.
Just doesn't look at all happy out there.
No, I feel sorry for her in a way, because she's in front of 7,000 fans here, and we've been talking about women's tennis. She's led the women's tennis charge, and they expect a lot from her, and they just haven't got it yet. And I don't think they're going to get it, because I think Seles is going to blow her away. Seles has won 10 of the last 12 points. Kimiko Date won the Japanese event in Tokyo.
For the 4th time.
Yeah, so it's not like she doesn't play well at home.
She has her only title this year. She has won the Japan Open 4 of the last 5 years. She's won 5 singles titles in her career.
At Indian Wells, though, for example, she gets the semifinals. In Key Biscayne, she was a quarterfinalist, losing to Steffi Graf. It's been a good year for her. Previous semifinalist at the Australian and a semifinalist at Wimbledon this year. Sellis holds on, and it's 5 games to love. Monica Sellis, as Billie Jean comes to congratulate her and say, let's keep going.
Foster's
Love on behalf of the USA, and if Sellis beats Date, the USA will be in the Fed Cup final again. 22 Fed Cup finals in all, 14 victories. Last year losing to Spain, the year before that losing to Spain. But the US has been the most successful Fed Cup nation.
And Billie Jean King, the captain, has also got herself quite a Fed Cup record. She won the inaugural Fed Cup back in 1963. She helped lead the U.S. to Fed Cup titles 6 different times, played it for 9 years.
Too many unforced errors, frankly, from Kamika Date, aren't there?
She's got 4 games worth of unforced errors, 16. That's just so uncharacteristic of Date. Of course, she is up against an awful lot of pace. Sellis, 5 winners, 7 unforced errors. The USA is looking for another Fed Cup win. The last time they won it was back in '90.
Point out that there's a new format for the Fed Cup. In the last couple of years, they have home and away matches instead of the Olympic style, all playing in the same nation.